this kind of Filipino pride renaissance going on. And I think that as a culture, once we started realizing and taking true pride in our culture, that's when all these things started lining up. We have started to really claim our own culture and celebrate it. And I mean, yeah, everyone is like, we are Filipino. Look at us. And it's great.
Chef Isa, thank you so much for joining us on So Jannelle. You are one busy woman.
Hi, Jannelle. Thanks for having me.
Congratulations on being featured on Netflix as a cartoon.
Yeah.
So tell us about that experience. Tell us about City of Ghosts.
In 2018, I was contacted by the producer, Joanne Shen. We spoke on the phone with the showrunner, Elizabeth Ito, and then from there we met in person and had another long, great talk just about my experiences as a chef, as being a woman chef, as a person of color, as owning my own business. And then they let me know about their project, City of Ghosts for Netflix. I had no idea what the show was going to be like. You say animation, I'm going to be a character, a voice, but of course, all of those things sounded amazing to me, and I was very excited.
So you are on episode 1, and what do you like about it? I know that it already premiered on March 5.
Yes.
And would you share with us some of your most favorite scenes?
The script itself, well, first we did have one, but they were also very encouraging to just let us say what we wanted, to be in the spirit of the moment. And they just let me do whatever I wanted. Keeping in line with the story, I was able to just be myself. And, as with production, the more you give, the more people can edit, but then you also find those gems. So there were a lot of things that when I was watching that I remember that day in the studio. Personally, working with the other chef, Kuniko, who plays my friend Mariko, she was great because she was very serious and deadpan. And then I was like this. So that was a great dynamic that we had. And yeah, even little Easter eggs within the show where at the end there's a family sitting at the table, and that's actually Elizabeth Ito, her husband, and her 2 kids sitting at the table when I'm serving them the food. So when I saw that, I said, oh my gosh, that's them. And that's the kind of fun that you can have as being a creator. And it is a series that, yes, it's geared toward kids, but you will learn a lot about just the history of Los Angeles. You'll learn a lot about other cultures, and your parents will also enjoy watching, not just the kids.
So you've come a long way from, being born in Canada, moving here to LA when you were 5, 6, and then music industry, and then finding your footing in the culinary space, right? So tell us about that switch in between your from music industry to culinary.
So
what made you decide to change?
Well, that's okay. Long story short, when I was working in music, I actually got fired from my job because there was a huge layoff with just the music industry was going through this huge upheaval of all the software, all the piracy. And then I got sick. So I ended up getting very sick. I ended up in the hospital for a month, and I had pneumonia and endocarditis. And it took me nearly a year to recover. And it is that life-changing experience that people talk about where like, what is important to you? And I had a job, it was good, but I didn't really feel fulfilled, and I'd always loved cooking. So I decided to do that. And now it's, nearly 15 years later. So I think I made the right choice.
And I bring it up because music is performing arts.
Mm.
And in a roundabout way, you got to that. You got to performing arts. You got to being a cartoon in a film on
Mhm.
Netflix, right? Do you
Yeah.
ever think about that? Do you ever think about the journey that led you to this point?
Well, first, I'll say also that I did go to film school. So I first was working in film production, and then I was working in music, and then food. But the underlying theme between all three is that there's an element of storytelling.
Mhm.
So film, obviously the visual storytelling. Music, you're telling a story through the words in the music, the experience. And then the food, these recipes have their own legacy and story, where I tell people, especially if you have a shared history or a shared culture, the foods that you create, you will have a memory of that same dish. So as a Filipino American, even something as simple as smelling the rice cooking in the home, you know, evokes so much, right? And that steamed rice, bubbling away, that other foods, delicious foods, are going to be accompanying that rice. Um, so yeah, that, when I think of it that way, it wasn't such a strange leap, but it's definitely something personal to me.
And I like that because your journey is uniquely yours. And I
Mhm.
like that your perspective also is uniquely yours. This is one of the few times when I've heard food, maybe the first time when I've heard food being talked about as a means of storytelling or
Mm.
in relation to storytelling. And I
Mhm.
like this because, and I point this out because that's who you are. You're being known in the Filipino food movement and in mainstream food industry as somebody you do your own thing,
Mhm.
right? You're
Yeah.
almost like, you're creating these dishes, not just because of the flavors, but of the stories behind it.
Yes.
I
Yes.
like
Yes.
that. So tell us about some of your most favorite creations, maybe two, and the story behind those.
Oh, I would be remiss if I didn't mention Mango Royale.
Yes,
That's
I was
probably, yeah. I mean,
thinking.
that just started as a pop-up piece, and my story behind that was that back in 2016, I visited the Philippines for the first time since I was 2 years old. Um, and I got to have all of these things, you know, in season. And one of those things was mango. I also had durian, I also had all these, like, just things that you can't get here, or if you get them here, it's not the same. And I'm sorry to put it that way, but having mangoes in the Philippines is like mind blowing. So I wanted to recreate that experience I had, of that juicy, that juicy sweet, when you're holding that soft mango in your hand, it's like emanating that sunshine, and biting into that fruit. And I mean, I've always loved Mango Royale, so I started making that. It was also a way to introduce people to these classic Filipino desserts, which at the time, a lot of people, they weren't aware of. I had people surprised when, they said, "Oh, there's bread in Asia." This was, this was now back, before. Now I think people are a little bit more aware that yes, we have bread in Asia. It's like we've had it for a very, very long time. Yes, that the Philippines is part of Asia. Oh, you know what I mean, right? And so yeah, that, a lot of the things I have done have been, to just kind of introduce things that were already there, but also trying to present them with the respect, in the best way possible, with the best technique, but then also being accessible to everybody. It doesn't have to be a fine dining. It's just, this food is delicious. You can enjoy it. Anyone can enjoy it, and understand it. So
And I like that you mentioned that, because now it's coming to me, because before we started recording, we were talking about how Filipino food has taken a while to be introduced, to be embraced by
Mhm.
mainstream. But if you
Yes.
really think about it and dig deep, the people knew about, the adobo and the pancit and the lumpia. But then
Mm.
it really only started becoming embraced as the movement goes to having a moment, is
Mm.
through the sweets.
Mm. Mhm.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but like, ube started, and then what you're doing with your mango royale. Um,
Mm.
yeah, your thoughts on that? It's through these sweets that like we're starting to be known. Filipino cuisine is starting to be. It's kind of like the gateway.
Yeah. I'm gonna dig even further, even deeper than that, because there's been this this kind of Filipino pride renaissance going on. And I think that as a culture, once we started realizing and taking true pride in our culture, that's when all these things started lining up. Because I've seen it growing up, maybe you have too, where you've had people say like, "Oh, don't give them that food to try. They won't like it. They'll think it's stinky," or, "Oh, no, 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 we should eat this. It's better." And it wouldn't be Filipino food, it'd be, something else.
Pizza.
Yeah, like, no, no, don't eat dinuguan. You will, eat the pizza instead. They won't like that. And it's these subtle cues that, looking back, when I was growing up and seeing how people are growing up now, they're not told that. They're not saying hide your culture or adopt another culture, right? So, wow. Yeah, I think we have started to really claim our own culture and celebrate it. And I mean, yeah, everyone is like, we are Filipino. Look at us. And it's great. Like, why not? We should be proud. We should be open and sharing and educating people, because our story is beautiful, and it's an old one, and it's worth telling and listening to.
I like that you said that, because yes, there is, in films as well, like Filipino made films, Filipino filmmakers are also having a moment.
Mhm.
And so with this moment, with this movement, where do you think is this going, as somebody from the inside?
Oh boy, where do I think this is going? I think that as long as we have people who continue to create the food, to maintain businesses, people that tell the stories, like through cultural events, working with museums, which I've done, even cross culture, but also within the culture, working with other artists, like folk dancing and fine artists, right? And just joining together, because I've done so many events with the city of Los Angeles. I've done it with KMBLA, with Sunday Jump, with SIPA, with Malaya Dance Co. Um, and we're all sharing our experience as being Filipino and Filipino American, but the impact of creating something all together is so much more than me just giving you a piece of pie. It's like, here's the food, here's the dance, here's the literature, here's the politics, here's the younger generation, speaking out. And we wouldn't have the same impact if it was just one of us doing something on a cooking show, or one of us, 5 minutes in the background, you know, talking about this one thing. So it's been very important to work together, and join together.
I
Yeah.
like that, and support each other, right? And
Yes,
speaking
yes,
of
yes.
support, I know that a lot of our kababayans in the food industry ask for
Mhm.
support, or maybe receive support through the pandemic.
Yes,
How
yes,
have
yes.
you been? How did you pivot?
So, yes, being in food has been one of the most difficult pivots of the pandemic. I've had many friends and colleagues either close up their businesses or make really drastic changes. How I pivoted is I've always had my business, but also have done chef consulting. So I'm on contract as a chef consultant right now, which luckily for me, I've been making money doing, what my skill set is. But then also turning my eye towards fundraising. So like in the last year, I tried to make sure that anything that I was doing that was of my own went towards fundraising for just various, oh my gosh, I mean, there were so many. And there were also many other chefs that were like-minded. Yeah, I think collectively, last year, all of the fundraisers I did, it was like over $1 million, and that was everything from Black Lives Matter to, a special,
right?
yeah, the special place in my heart, SIPA for Johnny Swing, for, in his memory, and then also just for the future Johnny Swing Business Center that they're building right now. So, looking to be local and helping out our community, I'm now in a place where I can garner that kind of support. So it's not just, oh, look at this dessert that I made. It's like, I've made this dessert, I'm selling it for this much, and all of the proceeds are going to go for this, and it wasn't just people that wanted to buy, it was the community who wanted to purchase, and recognizing that this is important, that we do need to help each other. So I would love to do more of that too, just because it was pretty successful, and I'm past that of just creating desserts. It's like now I'm making a dessert that can benefit more people than just myself, right? Yeah.
I love that. God bless you on your journey.
Aww.
Another pivot that you did was appear in an animated film, right?
Yeah.
And so what's on the horizon for you? Your heart seems to be in the right place. It's giving. And your profession, your hands, the work of your hands is sweet. What more is lacking? What more do you want to do? And what other projects are you working on now?
I've been pretty fortunate to just keep working, especially during these times. And it's always just a nice surprise when I get an email or a phone call or somebody sends me something as an opportunity, and those are blessings. So much like City of Ghosts, I do have projects that I cannot talk about. So it's more of like, surprise!
I have to make you promise that we'll be one of the first to know, please.
Yes.
Yeah?
Of course, yes.
I'm gonna get your mobile number after this.
Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But wait, congratulations on everything.
Oh, thank you, Jannelle. Thanks for cheers.
And God bless you on your journey.
God bless you, awesome.